source model?
Well, so first off, it is talking about applying open source principles to management. So
Sure.
it's much more about how you manage and lead.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I've learned, because I've been asked a lot, so are you proposing a new theory of management? And my simple answer is there's not going to be a new theory of management. The theory of management, or kind of management 1.0, and all the work that's been done around the science of management feels a lot like economics 101, where if you make a ton of simplifying assumptions, like everybody's always rational and markets are always in equilibrium, you can actually have a unified theory. But once you accept that people aren't always rational and they're emotional beings, etc., you get behavioral economics. Behavioral economics is a phenomenal field and it's growing rapidly. There is no unified theory of behavioral economics because as soon as you add all the complexity of human emotion, feeling, and irrationality, you can't build a unified theory. I think we're going to see the same thing with management. So our book basically describes how Red Hat does it holistically in a company that's in 60-something countries with almost 8,000 employees. And that's how we can do it at scale in a holistic way. I wouldn't call it a new theory of management as much as I would say it is, here is a holistic structure that works at pretty reasonable scale that I can imagine scaling dramatically beyond. So I hope it does help describe open source principles as they could apply to management, but the book itself I hope is a contribution to a whole series of work that's going to need to happen on what is the most effective way to manage and lead. And I know, by the way, those things start to blur together in an open organization, much more so than in a traditional organization. But how do you manage and lead knowledge workers, a creative class of workers that need to take initiative? I mean, that's part of the whole purpose of the book is that organizations today are going to fundamentally change in role. So organizations were developed, as we think of them today, bureaucracies were developed at a time to manage thousands of people in the absence of rich information, primarily doing rote tasks where you're more worried about managing capital, which was more important than the labor, right? And in a world today where we have ubiquitous broadband information, business is moving really, really, really fast, primarily educated workers who are doing non-standard tasks. If you can specify it, it's been automated, or it certainly will be. So you say, well, the whole world's different, kind of the objective function, who we're leading, the pace of business, strategic imperatives. So of course there needs to be a new paradigm for leading and managing, and hopefully that this is kind of another building block in pulling that new structure together.